So my YouTube channel recently passed the mark of 40,000 subscribers, and so I thought I'd celebrate that milestone by making a video about my whole approach to making videos, as well as my underlying motivations for doing it. Basically, I'd like to talk about three things. First, what I don't do on my channel, then what I do try to do, and finally, I'd like to end with talking a little bit about you, my YouTube audience, at least as I imagine it. So first, the things I don't do, all of which probably make my channel a little bit different from a lot of what goes on out there in YouTube land. First, I don't beg. I don't implore you to subscribe or like or share or leave comments. My logic is that you're already fully capable of making those sorts of decisions for yourself. And consequently, any additional instruction or exhortation from me would only end up wasting your time. And okay, maybe it would only be about 10 or 15 seconds, but in my view, even that amount of time is precious. First, because because the deeper truth is that we only get a finite number of moments in this world. And when they're gone forever. No do-overs and no respawns. Basically, to waste time is to waste life. But beyond that, I feel that when you click on one of my videos, you're honoring me with the gift of your presence and your willingness to listen to what I have to say. And it would be discourteous of me to respond to that gift by gratuitously wasting your time, even if it's only for a few seconds. And by the way, that's also why I organize my videos in terms of main themes with corresponding timestamps, which you can find in the description section. I realize that not everyone in the world wants to hear every single thing I have to say, and that you may want to skip ahead to whatever you find most interesting. So, I make that easy, basically because, well, once again, I don't want to waste your time, which is ultimately the time of your life. And for that same reason, I don't start my videos with 5 or 10 seconds of annoying graphics and/or music that you'd have to skip through to get to the actual content. My guess is that a lot of YouTubers do that because they're trying to generate some sort of recognizable brand for their channels. But in my view, it's just an annoying obstacle that no one really cares about. And my outlandish theory is that when you click on a video, it's because you want to see the actual content. Surprise Pikachu face. I know, right? And so all of the extraneous window dressing just ends up wasting everyone's time. Anyhow, a third thing I don't do. I don't beg for money. I don't do Patreon, I don't seek corporate sponsors, and I never monetize my videos. I never have, and I doubt that I ever will. That's because I'm not too eager to have my videos interrupted by some impertinent jackass who suddenly starts blathering on about why you should buy Purina cat chow. And anyhow, I want to be the only impertinent jackass in my videos. Oh, but more seriously, the fact is that I put a lot into my YouTube videos, a lot of my heart, my mind, and my soul. To me, they're acts of love and consecration, and so I don't relish the idea of seeing them larded with a bunch of oily advertisements. Of course, these days, a lot of content creators are themselves making sales pitches in the middle of their videos. I think you know the drill. You'll be sitting there watching a video and all of a sudden, your friendly neighborhood content creator will start prattling on about which brand of toilet paper he uses to wipe his behind. And then, you're stuck with the annoying task of trying to scroll past all of that, hopefully without developing carpal tunnel syndrome in the process. However, there's a deeper reason why I don't play any money games with my YouTube content, which is that it might eventually start to skew what I'm saying. For instance, if there were $1 at stake, at some point I'd probably be tempted to spin things to maximize my popularity, rather than to express what I truly think and feel. Furthermore, to me, it's glaringly obvious that the powers that be aren't particularly shy about using demonetization as a way of manipulating content creators. It's the same basic strategy employed by pretty much every 2-bit pimp on the planet. First, get your bitches addicted to the high, and pretty soon they'll be turning tricks for you. And while I have no particular objection to prostitution in principle, well, let's just say it's not my kink. Anyhow, in my view, as long as you're expecting a paycheck for just telling the truth, you'll be vulnerable to manipulation by whoever's holding the purse strings. But on the other hand, the threat of demonetization isn't very effective against someone who's never been monetized in the first place. And by the way, side note here, little side note. Have you ever noticed how the word demonetization begins with the word demon? Just saying. Demonetizing and demonizing. Pretty similar, don't you think? Is that just a coincidence? But I digress. Anyhow, here's a fourth thing I don't do. I don't promote my YouTube videos on social media. The reason is that I don't do social media in the first place, unless you want to count YouTube itself. Around 8 or 10 years ago, I did have a Facebook account, but after a while I discovered that it was much more aggravation than it was worth. So I just got rid of it. And since then, I haven't felt particularly attracted to any of the newer platforms like what? Like Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, name your poison. Yes, I certainly realize that promoting my YouTube content through social media would probably draw a lot more viewers. But here my operating principle is that the people who end up watching my videos will always be the right people to watch them, no matter how many of them or how few of them there are. So I guess I feel very little need to don an emotional hazmat suit so I can wade through all of the toxicity on social media. So, okay, there they are. 4 things I don't do as a YouTuber. I don't beg for subs, shares, likes, etc. I don't waste your time with annoying branding graphics. I don't panhandle, and I don't promote myself via social media. Okay then, so what am I doing? Or at least what am I trying to do? Well, I guess you could say that a lot of it boils down to simply speaking the truth, or at least the truth as I see it. And that's important to me for several reasons. First, I feel a fairly strong desire to give something worthwhile to the world, to benefit other people's lives in some appreciable way. The developmental psychologist Erik Erikson called that generativity, and he identified it as the primary struggle during our middle-aged years. And although at this point I'm more in the old age category, I still feel a fair amount of generativity's pull. And so now that I'm retired, YouTube is one of my ways of pursuing that. However, I'd also say that I feel a desire to give something back to YouTube more specifically. The reason is that I feel very thankful for what I've learned through YouTube and how it's benefited my life. Many are the times when I've had to repair, an appliance or a car or whatever, and voila, there's a handy YouTube tutorial on it. So, yeah, I'm definitely thankful for YouTube's presence in my life, and so I naturally feel a desire to give something back to it. Of course, YouTube isn't without its flaws. For instance, because of its ideological biases, it's not a very good platform for expressing dissenting perspectives on our world's more difficult and contentious issues. However, it's an excellent vehicle for topics that are relatively innocuous. Anyhow, another reason I make videos has to do with the process of self-discovery. Basically, I make them partly because I want to find out what I think about things. Of course, I often incorporate themes and texts and thinkers that I've known about for a long time, but the exciting part is about discovering something new. When I have to think through a topic about which I don't have an already existing perspective, when I'm not so much just sharing things I already know, but actively creating a point of view while I'm in the process of making a video. To me, that's an exciting creative challenge. And speaking of creativity, that's another reason I make videos. I'm a person who believes in the widest possible latitude for creative expression. It's a pretty big part of my everyday life, and it's a big part of my values too, which is why I so often end up railing against things like censorship, cancel culture, and what I call the dictatorial mentality. But my main point is that I make YouTube videos partly as a vehicle for creativity, for allowing life to pass through me and to seek expression in our world. So, those are the 4 main reasons why I make videos. To contribute something worthwhile to the world, to give something back to YouTube more specifically, to engage in the process of self-discovery, and what was the last one? To enjoy creative expression. Anyhow, like I said earlier, I'd like to move toward ending this video by talking a bit about my YouTube audience, which is to say, you! Yeah, you, sitting there in your damn grimy underwear with Dorito crumbs falling like flakes of orange snow on your chest, and no, you didn't leave your webcam on. I'm just clairvoyant. So, I suppose the question is, who in the hell do I think you are? Well, I think that you're probably a lot like me. Fairly well educated and intellectually curious. Someone who, against all odds, still possesses a childlike ability to find wonder in life, and who's fascinated with the possibility of realizing its deeper potentials. By expanding our consciousness, for instance, and by opening our souls to the wider horizons of this world, and hell, who knows, maybe even by moving a little closer to wisdom. I think of you as someone, how do I think of you? As someone who's willing to question our world's prevailing orthodoxies and to reject them when necessary. As someone who, in the midst of so much mindless conformity, secretly longs to become a free thinker, to captain your own ship, and to navigate the oceans of this world with a real sense of adventure, with a willingness to traverse any latitudes, no matter how rough the seas may become. Someone whose only master is the northern star, glittering like a diamond in the velvet of the midnight sky. So, I guess you could say that I think of you as a kind of explorer or adventurer, a traveler in the realm of thought, values, experience, and life itself. And I think of you as a passionate person too. Someone who's not merely content to comprehend things at just an intellectual level, but who longs to feel them in the deepest recesses of your being. Someone who wants to breathe and sweat what you claim to know, and who's willing to spill blood along life's long and perilous road. Someone who's content with nothing less than drinking in everything the human adventure has to offer, in whatever fleeting and unpredictable span we're allotted. I think of you as beautiful, as radiant in who and what you are, even as you bear the inevitable weight of darkness from day to day. And perhaps in the final analysis, that would be my fifth and final answer to the question of why I make these videos. I do it to call out what's best in us, to dare to speak to you in the strange and forbidden language of our souls. I make these videos because I mean to change you and to change myself too, to leave us all altered and transfigured and born anew, wandering like children in a bold and brilliant world, open, wild, and alive in a profoundly miraculous universe. Basically, I make these videos as a kind of conjuration, as a way of drawing us all a little closer toward opening the wings of our souls and learning to live in the deepest, most poetic, most dazzling way imaginable. So yeah, I guess that's why I make these videos. Anyhow, I'd like to end this one by thanking you all for sharing the journey with me. And I mean not only the journey of YouTube, but more importantly, the larger journey of life itself. So yeah, today I want to thank you for being born to this world, into this strange and unsettling age. I want to thank you for enduring all of the weight and hardship that life entails, for caring when it's not easy to care, and for risking yourself when things seem a little scary. So yeah, thanks for the boundless gift of your presence, for swimming with me in the river of life as it meanders through time beyond measure. And thanks for joining with me for a few minutes on YouTube. Yeah. Many thanks to each and every one of you for all of that. And yeah, it's kind of a lot. Yeah. So many thanks to you. And of course, as always, take care of your soul.